All right, I'm at Children's Hospital, Los Angeles, with a new friend of mine, Roy Knickman. We met about a year ago, actually on the last day of the first Pablove across America. You and your wife, Deb, joined us.
Yeah.
You know a few things about riding a bike.
Yes, I do.
I'm going to make this hard for you.
Okay.
Do you want me to say who you are, or do you want to say who you are? I'll do it.
You can do it.
I'll do it.
I would rather not.
Roy was on Team 711, which was the first American team ever to go to the Tour de France. Yeah. And he was on that team with some pretty darn incredible dudes. Chris Carmichael, who's Lance Armstrong's coach, and a couple other guys who kind of made it up and out of the cycling scene. And you guys have one of those famous jerseys that people still buy to this day, brand new, and wear them on rides all over the country. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
You live in the LA area. You guys live up north of the city, and like us, you and your wife Deb woke up one day, and your son Andreas, out of nowhere, was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, that is true. In a matter of 2.5 hours, we went from an MRI for a lump in his leg to a room down here at Children's Hospital. It was about as fast and as I guess shocking as could be from where we were in normal life, in our community, to pretty much a permanent place down here at the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, that was our story as well. I had ridden about 80 miles on a Saturday. It was my birthday. It was May 17, 2008. We were having my birthday dinner, 40 of my closest friends and family, around the corner from here. And Pablo and I were taking a bath before dinner, 6 p.m. And he stood up in the bathtub. He was 4 at the time, almost 5. And I saw this lump in his abdomen. And that's how our story started. Emergency room here, X-ray, CAT scan, and we became guests here on the 4th floor. And so the thing I always try and tell people is just that. It's like people think from the movies that you have to get all sick and then you get diagnosed with cancer. It's just not the case. And the thing that you and I can help do is to raise awareness that people need help. People need help in these hospitals. Researchers need help trying out new things and new ways to treat kids, because a lot of the treatments that are developed are for adults.
Yes. And
then they're dosed down for kids. That's a tough gig.
No, most definitely. And that's the one thing I've realized over this past year. And for us, as you're just aware of today, a week and a half ago, my son, during his 6-month cancer-free check, was no longer cancer-free. Multiple tumors, an operation last week, and here we go again. Yeah. And for us, it's, there's one more type of chemo that has shown promise to help, and after that, there's nothing. And so, needless to say, we've been researching like crazy, trying to figure this out. Yeah. And the one thing we found, there's a lot of incomplete research. So there's a lot of money that is spent starting studies, and then they run out of gas,
exactly
especially
right.
for the pediatrics. And it's like, we need answers. My son has osteosarcoma, and he was diagnosed with it having already metastasized to his lungs. And as we did research, we found out in the past 20 years, there have been no advances in drugs and treatments. I mean, 20 years in this day and age, no increased survivability for those kids. And it's a really hard thing to swallow, when you see, like we've discussed, there's a lot of money going into cancer research, but not necessarily evenly distributed or everywhere. And it's like, it's so sad, because as we get, I spent 130 days at the hospital over an 8-month period last year, and got to know the families, and got to see it, and it's pretty crushing to see what the families go through. You're going through it, but you're seeing the families struggle with the same things where there are no answers.
Yeah, it's so many things are going through my mind when you're talking, Roy. I mean, 47 kids will be diagnosed with cancer today in this country. 47 kids.
Yeah.
That's 47 too many. But just to let you know, Roy and I never knew each other. I was a fan of his cycling work from the 1980s. His team really was the predecessor to the teams that Lance Armstrong was on, and Lance's coach, who is a real pivotal guy in the cycling scene in the world, was your teammate. We were as far apart as anybody could be, and suddenly here we are in this tiny little room. By the way, my wife and I call this the bad news room.
Yeah.
This is the room where it's got a lock on the door with a combination, and you come in here with your doctor, and you sit on this little sofa here, and they tell you what your child's treatment program is going to be. And there's nothing confidential to a person on this whiteboard behind us, but I've described this board on my blog. I've described this board in the book that I'm writing, and this is all these words you see on here look at how well worn this board is. This is hundreds and hundreds of children who've been diagnosed with cancer, and the doctors write information on here to explain to the parents what's going on with their child. This is a tough room for us to be in, but we're in it because we both sat next to Andreas in his room just now, talking about how people don't understand unless we raise our voices, unless we put a light on this. Yeah. And what you and I got right now is a wonderful nurse named Sona holding my iPhone, filming us, and we're going to be on YouTube shortly. I want to tell you, if you think it's hard to watch this, I want to tell you that my son came to the end of his life in the room that Andreas is in. We got him home so he could die at home, which was our plan for him. If you think it's hard to watch two fathers standing here talking about cancer, think about how hard it is for Roy and I to be in this room. Think about how hard it is for me to be in room 435. It's very difficult.
Yeah, and I was in this room yesterday going over the treatment plan.
So
a couple of layers under that is Andreas' treatment plan, where he was explained everything.
I mean, look at that. It's literally like you can't, it doesn't even come off anymore. This is, we are guys on the front lines of pediatric cancer. You are truly in the foxholes there. What I've done is I lost my son in battle, so I've taken on a different role. I'm taking on a role of, I don't know what it's called in the military. I'm flying a flag anywhere I can go to get attention that kids get cancer too. And I don't mean to be rude, but it's not somebody else's problem. The government don't got it. Some drug company that you see on television, they don't got it either. There's not enough money going to this. So the Pablove Foundation, we're taking some responsibility to make some noise, raise our flag, and ask people like you to donate a penny, a nickel, a dollar. If you are fortunate enough to have more than that, please help us. We are kicking off Pablove across America. My inspiration as an amateur cyclist, by watching guys like Roy and his former teammates and the guys that came after them, has led me to take a bike on the road and fight cancer with that. Because I have no other choice. I have no other choice than to go hit the road and visit kids all Seattle, Portland, Palo Alto here, and go on the radio and TV, whoever will talk to me about people like you, right? People don't know. And so I'm really honored that you came in this room. I can't even tell you how hard this is for me to see the look in your eyes. But I'm deeply grateful, and I wish we didn't know each other. I wish I just knew you from DVDs that I bought off the internet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm glad I know you, but you know what I'm saying by that.
Well, I mean, and I'm honored to know you and know that, after all you've been through, that you've, making this your cause, not just as a single tribute to your son, but as an ongoing, lifelong project to fight for all the kids.
Yeah.
And that's something, I don't know if I would have the strength to do that. I mean, as it is, it's hard to, looking at our news situation of the last 2 weeks, just manage how we're going to get through the next 9 months of even harder treatment and more appointments and radiation added and all these things.
And your other son.
And not neglecting the other son, which I did the first time around, or trying to keep Andreas in the game, fighting, just for a chance to maybe have a reoccurrence again, because the drugs and the odds aren't that good. you know, so it's tough, and you know, to see you doing this now after all you've been through is huge. So
I can't explain to you. You know, we were talking about cycling as a metaphor for life earlier, and and the suffering that one goes through on the bike. And you know, when you're in it, and you just, the only way to it is through it. Right. And that's where I am right now, and I can't even explain to you why I'm doing what I'm doing, except for the fact that I learned from my little boy that, you know, we have to connect with other people, we have to have fun, we have to follow our passion. And if Pablove was your roommate in there, he'd probably be hanging out, jumping all over Andreas, trying to play video games with him. That's the kind of dude he was. And so, you know, I'm on your wheel, you're on my wheel, however we look at it. But when I go out there as an amateur everyman to ride 100 miles a day and make some noise and raise some money, we are 35% of the way to our $500,000 goal right now. We're doing everything we can. I hope you guys aren't here on October 21st when we roll back into LA and come in here. I hope Andreas is clear of cancer and you guys are at home and everything is awesome. If you happen to be here on October 21st, I'm going to come up and give you a giant hug. Okay. And I will smell like a bike racer. And I know you know what that's like. Dude, thank you so much, man.
Okay.
Really, really an honor. And this is how we do it. We just bust out the camera and we talk about it. So let's get out of this tiny room.